Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelly and I've been traveling recently. The other day I was in Portland, Oregon. It kind of all runs together. And I had a little bit of time to kill before my flight. And so I stopped at Target and picked up some drugstore items. Some of them are things that I've had in my list, but it didn't really warrant me going to make a special trip just for that. You know how it goes. You kind of have to have a reason. It's like, I'm not going to stop just for one thing, right? So there's a couple things that I had that I was kind of curious about, some things that I was like, oh, I want to remember next time I go to pick up these things. And I ended up with, between that and a couple other things that I really love, a face full of drugstore. I think it's a face full of drugstore. So I figured we'd just kind of chit chat, do a good old fashioned drugstore version, get ready with me. I've been kind of impressed with a couple of these things, and a couple of them, the jury's still out, so I'd like your, hi Suze, like your opinion on it. That being said, let's just kind of get into some of the things I bought. I actually do still even have my receipt. I should be able to read it and tell you how much things were. One of them was a real pleasant surprise. But I'm going to start with the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I got this a while back, and it's more, to me, it's more of like a moisturizer than a, I mean, it feels like a moisturizer. So like on days like today where I've had my moisturizer on my skin for, I don't know, probably a good 45 minutes now, it's not a bad idea to have a little bit more right before I put on, you know, the base layers. And this one I think is supposed to be a smoothing one. I think they say that it has a bunch of good ingredients for you, which I am not upset by it at all. I love the smell of it. I don't know what it is about the scent that appeals to me so much, but yeah, this marshmallow primer. I didn't buy the sponge because I think when I went to get it, the sponge seemed like it was a lot more expensive than I thought it should have been, so I passed on it. And then when I went to go back, and I'm like, okay, well, I should try it because everybody's raving about it, and it was already gone. So I can't speak on that. Let me scooch in. I think you're kind of in the right place. Anyway, yeah, I took this opportunity to change my battery because I got overzealous thinking that my battery was gonna last. I have the NYX Marshmallow Primer on. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the NYX Pore Filler Stick as well. And I just kind of stroke it on gently, the areas where I feel like I have the most texture, and then just kind of press it in a little bit. To me, this ends up feeling very similar to the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Maybe not quite as good. Kind of like a lighter version of that, if you will. But I like it. If for on the go, yeah, good. And I think I've used this on top of makeup before too. If I feel like I got a little shiny or got a little something texture going on that I don't want to have, I've actually put that on top of my makeup and it seems to be fine. Okay, I did pick up a No. 7 Lift and Illuminate Serum Concealer. This isn't one that I've ever tried before, and I was looking around concealers going, I feel like I need a concealer because I was wearing a mask and I was just, was going on no sleep and just wasn't feeling myself, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try a concealer. Looked around to all of them and there wasn't any that really jumped out at me, but this one did. I do like the No. 7 product line, and I thought this was a good one because of the properties it says it has. What does it say it has in here? Well, lift and illuminate. I guess that's kind of it. I don't have a package, so I don't know what else it's gonna say. But when I used it just kind of under my eyes and in certain spot areas, and really liked it. How much did that cost? Hold on. That was the first thing I actually bought. Concealer. That was the most expensive, no, second to most expensive thing. That was $19.99. Very close to the expensive thing. I also picked up this brush. This is an e.l.f. It's called a Flawless Concealer Brush. This is one that Juicy Jazz was talking about. Jasmine mentioned this on her channel. This one is, I think this was $5. Oh no, $4 maybe? $4 or $5. But they had it and I was like, oh, ooh, that was the one that I wanted to pick up because she raved about it. And she uses it for not only concealer, but she uses it for eyelid primer. I mean, she had a whole bunch of uses for it, more than just concealer. But it was also in her bundle. And I think everything else that was in her bundle that she put together, collaborated with e.l.f. were all things that I already had. So it's like I don't really need to go buy a bunch of stuff that I already have just to support her. I do think she's fantastic. She does a lot of drugstore hauls and a lot of drugstore makeup, and she just always looks so amazing. She's a really, I really enjoy her as a creator. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into, this is not new, this is the True Match Lumi Foundation. I've had this for a long time, And the other day I was like, oh, you know what? I actually really like that. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit on the back of my hand. I think the shade still works for me. I've got like a little Sigma brush here. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I feel a little washed out in my camera right now. I'm not really quite sure why. I don't always do concealer first and then foundation on top. I think there's different philosophies on what order to do things. And I think it just kind of, for me personally, I think it depends on the product and then it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I've got freshly colored hair. After a very long time of not coloring my hair, like I'm gonna say a year, finally decided that the grays that were peeking through are not to the point yet where it's cool to have the grays. At some point in time, I will let my hair go and do the silver strands and the multicolored, but I just wasn't quite feeling it quite yet. I am a lady of a certain age, so every day it's like a battle. Do you pluck the silver strands or do you just let them go? And because I had so much blonde on the end from being out in the sun and having, you know, color fade and stuff like that, to me that blonde was looking a little crispy on the ends and I wasn't ready to go get a haircut. I try to avoid the haircuts thing, especially now since I'm trying to let my hair grow back out again. All right, I feel like I'm still a little dark underneath my eyes, so I'm just gonna go over it with a little bit more foundation. What that does, see if that helps the discoloration at all. I do really like that Milani under eye corrector. I just didn't bring it in. So I feel like this is a good foundation. It's a good drugstore option. It does layer up pretty well. I do still have some discoloration for my glasses. We'll have to doctor that up later. So we're going on, moving on, keeping it drugstore today. I do actually have one of these infallible 24-hour foundation, powder foundation from L'Oreal. And this one's a little broken in places, but I'm gonna grab a brush because I think that this actually works really well, for me anyway, for covering up some of the areas that are having a hard time covering. And I like the powder foundation part of it, especially over areas where I used that NYX pore filling stick. I'm looking a little flat Stanley here right now, but we'll fix up some of the contouring here in a second. Speaking of which, so I recently have probably had this in a video. I feel like I've got foundation on my lips, but not so much. Okay, I've been using this recently in a video, a few videos actually. It's quickly become a favorite for me. This is the e.l.f. Electric Mood X Pity Zion De La Soul Cream Face Quad. It's got 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlighter. And I didn't initially pick this up right away, but when I made my last sort of e.l.f. haul, I picked it up and I've been obsessed with it. I normally like the e.l.f. contour palette, which is a quad like this, about the same size. And I really like it. Have a backup of that as well. So when I was at Target, I saw that they had, it was on clearance. It was like $3.60. It was normally $12 and it was on sale for $3.60. So I picked up a backup. I'm not gonna open up that one, but I am gonna use the one that I already have going. We're gonna leave the other one as it is. I might even throw in some of my travel stuff and just kind of take it to travel. So I'm gonna use the contour shade in here first. It's probably a little bit bigger of a brush than I want to. But I've been finding that I just kind of dip into it and tap it on, and it just looks so beautiful on the skin. Now, I have used the contour quad for like a reverse foundation, and it's worked really well with that too. When I'm doing it on top of foundation, I find that I just kind of tap it on and then buff it in. Now, I'm not a makeup artist, you guys. That's not the reason why you're here. I'm just a lady of a certain age, and if I figured out how to use something, then I'm happy to share it with you guys. Or if I, you know, find the reason why I like something, I'm happy to share it with you. Just because I feel like we need to be able to relate to some of the people that are using makeup that are like us, as opposed to maybe the professional makeup artists that, of course, they can make something that a normal human can't use. They make it work for them. All right, a little tiny bit of contouring. I'm gonna throw a little bit up here. I'm not gonna use a bronzer today, just because I think I'm gonna keep it pretty simple for what I have right now. And then there are 2 blushes in here, and frankly, I like both of them. So I'm gonna use, you know, both of them, and I'm just gonna kind of mix them together and sort of tap it on here. And I just feel like it is so pretty. The highlighter, because it's a cream highlighter, I mean, it's fine. I don't often go into that, but it is available. I like the fact that it's here if I need to. I find that sometimes if I tap it on with my finger, it can go on very pretty. Like I'll put a little bit of it on right here, for instance. And it's not like a, you know, you can see it from Mars. Put a little bit more here. It's not, you know, hey, check me from outer space. This cheek palette, score. So if you can still find it, snag one and let me know what you think, because for $3.60 for 4 different shades, and it's super easy. Love, 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 love. Find myself maybe reaching for that more than some of the higher end stuff, to be truthful. Okay. I did also, this is one that I've wanted for a long time, Winky Luxe blush Tati talked about this, I think, in one of her first videos that she brought back on. This is the most expensive thing I bought by a penny, $20 for one of these things. So I have been thinking about doing a face full of Winky Lux. I put a bunch of items in a loves list or a save for later list on Ulta. And then I just have never pulled the trigger on buying it. So I'm actually going to maybe put on a little bit more of this. I don't really need it because I use that other blush, but it is a cream blush. It's such a beautiful package. I love the little rose detail. And I think the color is actually very pretty. I think the color is actually a little bit bolder when I use it by itself, but if I layer it on top of something else to give it a little bit of depth, it's perfectly fine. And did I use it alone? Yeah, I did. I did use it alone the first time I used it, and I'm like, okay, that's bold. I had to tone it down a little bit. Actually, when I bought all this stuff, I also picked up this little travel kind of kabuki brush, and I used it, sorry, it's hard to see. I used this to apply it, and it was fine. I just felt like it was, in order to get it to show up, I ended up putting a lot on. But to layer something to give it some dimension, I think it's actually really pretty. I need to play around with it a little bit more to kind of get my bearings on it. So I bought actually 3 of these Milani lips, but I'm missing one. Let me go grab the 3rd one. Okay, so I picked up 3 of these Milani lip bullets, I guess is probably what we'd call them. I couldn't remember which ones were the ones that were sort of viral. I think Allie Glines was talking about it, so I was like, oh, if I happen to see them, I'll grab some. So I grabbed 2. I didn't really know how the colors would work. I didn't realize that there's actually 2 different kinds. So there's the one with the gold writing on the gold package, and then there's the black writing, or gold writing on the black label. I don't know which is which. I don't know which ones are considered viral. These were either $7.99 or $8.99. I think they were $7.99. It's hard to see on my actual receipt which is which, but I also picked up 2 of these Milani lip glosses because I think they were really beautiful. One of them is in shade 01 Champagne, and one of them is 04 Luminoso. And then the lip bullets that I got, this one, hold on, let me put my glasses on so I can read. So we've got 410 Pleasure, we have 130 Lingerie, and 110 Lustful. So I think the one that I thought was going to be darker ended up being lighter. So this is the 110, beautiful color, love it, love it, love it. And this one is the 130, and it's a lot more vibrant pink. And then this is the one that's a completely different formula. They just happen to have it in the same packaging, and it's more of a matte nudie color versus the other ones are very lustrous, luminous, moisturizing feeling. Like these ones have a little bit of a shine to it. This is definitely a matte. So we've got a couple different things here. Might as well swatch the lip glosses while I'm at it. One of them kind of just your nudie pink with a tiny bit of a peach shift to it. And then the champagne one, just your, it's not exactly a clear gloss, but it is pretty neutral. And then I did buy one more lip product. This is from Verst. This is the first item I bought from Verst. I do follow Who What Wear. I get their newsletters. I love their content as far as trends and shopping items. So this is like their sister brand. Who What Wear also has a clothing line. They used to have it at Target. I think they might still. And then they have other ones as well. This is an actual lip oil. I'm going to throw a little bit of this on right now for no reason other than it's on my finger. I didn't know what to expect from the brand. And again, this is the very first thing that I bought from it. I know they have a lot of skincare as well. So I'm excited to try it. I thought that was actually kind of a pretty, you know, just sort of a neutral color. And if it's a lip oil, is that going to be comfortable underneath the mask? That's kind of the direction I was going, and was just I wanted something that was comfortable underneath the mask. And then I also picked up a new one of these. This is a Maybelline Color Sensational, I think it's a shaping lip liner. This is in 125 Magnetic Mauve. Not the color I was looking for, but they didn't have very many choices when I was there, but I thought we'd go for it anyway. So even though I have a little bit of that tinted lip oil on it, I'm going to put my lip liner on now. And it's super hard to put on lip liner. But as far as a comfortable, creamy, drugstore, easy to apply mechanical lip liner, these are great. Okay, and as far as the lip liner goes, what does it tell me how much? I think this was $6.99, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I did pick up a little travel set of eyeshadow brushes because mine were buried, and I thought, well, you know what, I don't have a lot of room to actually do shopping. So I wanted whatever I can throw into one of my little carry-on tote bags that was already crammed full of my files and stuff like that. And they ended up being 4 brushes because they're double-ended. But as far as like a little travel set of brushes, these are great. How much were these? This is the Eco Tools line 2, which I also like. I haven't bought Eco Tools in a long time. It was either $5.99 or $6 for these two brushes. And I think the other one was that one. So right around $6 for each one of those. I had to buy an eyeshadow palette. There was one other one that I was looking at, but it had like 2 sort of metallic foil colors and 1 shimmer. This one I thought was a little bit more, almost for me, like work appropriate. It does have 2 shimmers and 3 mattes, 4 mattes really, and then this just like bone shade. So I thought maybe we'd just do, you know, kind of a real simple look with this, because this is what I did when I was touching my makeup and getting ready to go. I put on a lip liner and then I did nothing else. You know what? I think I want to use the one that I didn't buy when I was down there that seems like it's a little bit off, because with this lip liner, I think that shade actually works really well. Normally, I worry about this kind of tone because I feel like it's going to wash me out, but with a lip liner, I think it's actually attractive and not too much of a throwback to the 90s with the dark lip liner. I'm going to grab a brush here and I'm just going to go in with this nude shade here on the end. I didn't put on any eyelid primer. I probably should, but I'm not going to. I do have some other stuff I want to film today. I want to film a date night, get ready with me look later on tonight, but this is just going to be a work from home kind of a day for me. I've got to get caught up on some reports. I've got a couple conference calls, kind of wind up the week. We're getting ready with me in the morning before I start work. My thought on some of these shades is, you know, if I'm wearing a mask, and sometimes I'll either have my reading glasses on or I'll just have my like regular glasses on, I tend to do a lot more mattes when I do that. I think this is kind of time of year too. I'm gonna grab a little smaller brush and go in with this kind of warm color here in the center. I'm not going to use every shade in this palette, but I'm going to flip back to that other brush here in a second and kind of buff it out. This eyeshadow palette was $6.99 as well. When I saw the other palette, I liked the tones in it more because they were a little cooler toned, but with the 2 metallics and the 1 shimmer, you got over half. Yeah, you got half the palette was being very shiny. And again, because I was touching up almost like a work look, I ended up doing more mattes. Mainly because I want them to hear what I'm saying and not be like mesmerized by my shiny eyelids. Okay, I love that color. I'm gonna take on my finger the shimmer that's in here. Well, there's two. This one is like a really pretty bronzy brown color, and I'm just pressing it into the outer, we're gonna call it outer half of my movable lid. This is such a pretty shade. Really feel like I could do it all over my lid and then just do a matte on the crease to kind of soften it up and be done. So this seems like a really like perfect work palette to kind of have and have it at the ready, and maybe throw it in a desk drawer or in a bag because it's so small, just for quick touch-ups. Nude shade here, and we're just going to use that on the inner portion of the eye. I know I put a little bit on it earlier, but I'm going to keep it kind of just more neutral and soft. And then I'm going to go in with the darker brown here. I'm using the same brush I used on my crease, or like transition, and I'm just gonna smudge out just a little bit out here. Yeah, glasses, work, super simple. That's all I'm doing for eyeshadow. Super simple. 2 brushes, could not be easier in my opinion. And then I'm gonna use a mascara I haven't used in a long time. This is the mascara, this is the Snapscara by Maybelline. When I originally got it, I mean, I think it was one of those viral mascaras. Not viral as in it was virus, but you know, like everybody was talking about it. Don't think I fell in love with it at first. Like I didn't hate it, but I also wasn't like wowed by it. There's been other mascaras that I've been wowed by, and this really wasn't one of them. However, I have learned in my advanced years that sometimes mascaras improve after they've been open for a little while. I mean, before they turn bad, right? You don't want it to be open that long. So I thought, you know what? It's been a while. I'm going to do a face full of Drugstore. Everybody loves the Lash Paradise. Everybody loves the Sky High. So I thought I would give this a try. And honestly, I don't mind it, especially for work. You know, especially for a subtle eyeshadow day. You don't want to go too crazy because you're wearing a mask. I do like the wand. It's tapered on one end and then kind of flares out at the base. It's helping me get into some of the short eyelashes. This formula doesn't appear to be clumping at all. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit of length. Yeah, I'm getting some length, but they're not like Va Va Voom lashes, if that makes sense. This is a mascara I would use for work, absolutely. Well, I'm glad I had this opportunity to dig back in and pull out some drugstore products, because now I'm finding that I actually really like this mascara and I'm going to be using it again. Yeah, I don't mind that mascara at all. So this is the Maybelline Snapscara. I'll keep it in rotation. So that's pretty much, you know, the new makeup. Put a little gloss on. I feel like I want to keep it subtle, so I'm going to do the champagne gloss, and I should powder. And despite not grabbing a drugstore powder, I am going to powder my face because I feel like I need a little bit of, I need a little stay here going on, especially with those cream products. This will just kind of help set them a little bit so they're a little bit more locked in. And that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing for a drugstore simple get ready with me. Like I said, I've got some calls to do today. I will have my camera on for my calls. Oh, you know what? I think this lip gloss feels like it's maybe a plumping. Oh yeah, it says keep it full. So it's a plumping lip gloss. It's not hurting my lips, but it has a little bit of like a minty tingle to it. So if that's not, you know, something that you're interested in, I wouldn't recommend that. Fuss-free, kind of easy to touch up, easy for a work from home. This is all I'm doing. This is all I'm doing for makeup for right now. So I hope you guys are doing really well. I hope this was interesting to you. It's been a while since I've done a drugstore kind of makeup thing. I feel like this is the kind of the wild card for me. I'm gonna have to play around with this Winky Lux blush a little bit more. As far as a cream blush goes, I think it's gonna be okay, but I need to try it with my normal regular products. And I, of course today I layered it over the top of the e.l.f. Electric Mood, which I love, love, love. Love it so much that I picked up a second one. This one's beautiful because of the rose on it. If you can see that, isn't that beautiful? They only had 3 different shades. It's not like they had a huge shade range, and I had a hard time figuring out which one I wanted. This one's the Tea Time, I think. I'm playing with it. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. And the packaging is cute. It reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys are doing really well. I hope you consider hitting the subscribe button and sticking around. I'm so close to like my next goal, which was 500. I promise you guys I will do a giveaway at 500. We got to get me there. That's halfway to being a channel that's, I'm not even gonna say legit, but you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 views before anything. So I feel like somebody's here. Somebody rang my doorbell, I think. I need to go. And until next time, bye for now.